Overnight leader, 23 years old, American TJ Van Garderen prepares for the biggest day of his young professional career. It's the time trial in Vail next. Stage 2 forced the peloton to face the mountains, and the veteran George Hincapie rode an opportune surge across the line. The task upon them now is a challenge from the clock, and keeping in tune with the landscape, this time trial points uphill. TJ Van Garderen elevated himself into the lead, but now he faces a field determined to chase him down. Tour de France champ Cadel Evans looks to harness his momentum, while Levi Leipheimer lost the yellow jersey, but now sets his sights on getting it back. It's a climb against the clock in the town of Vail. Stage 3 of the USA Pro Cycling Challenge is next. And today, the USA Pro Cycling Challenge has moved deep into the heart of the Rockies. We've moved on to Vail now. It's stage 3, the 10 miles individual time trial presented by Colorado.com. There is an incredible atmosphere here, but normally at this time of the year, you can enjoy the tranquility of a little bit of fly fishing. In the winter, you can go alpine skiing and enjoy that in solitude as well. But today, take a look at this. The crowd here in the center of Vail are proud, very noisy indeed, and the race has already started. Hello everybody, I'm Phil Liggett. Alongside me is Paul Showing. Well, you know, every day of this race, the towns have brought their own personality to it, and Vail is proving no exception. This is an incredible atmosphere.
Oh, Phil, that's an understatement. You know, yesterday I thought was going to be the most exciting day of the tour when we went into Aspen, but here in Vail, it's incredible, it's electric, it's party time.
And you know, the top riders overall, all have ridden this year's Tour de France. They will be the last to go as you hear the cheers for the early start in the time trial. But let's take our minds back to yesterday and our RoadID.com pick. Your pick was the same as ours too. George Hincapie won the day.
I'm sorry, Phil, you know, but I am a little bit of a fan when it comes down to professional cycling. TJ Van Garderen made the move. He started to lead out at the front, but Hincapie was in an ideal position in second. He'd already at this point got a little bit of a gap on Tommy Danielson. 2-3 bike lengths in the rears, but all of a sudden George Hincapie sees the door open, the gate is flown open for him, and he sees the finishing line. Then all of a sudden he accelerates right to the line, and when a man like George Hincapie wants to win, he does it exceptionally well. The amazing thing that I find hard to believe, Phil, is he hasn't won a race since 2009 when he won the American US Pro Championships.
That's absolutely right, but George, in a small breakaway coming off Independence Pass, made it, and that's our Road ID ride of the day, and you can have your pick again at the end of our coverage today. So you go to roadid.com/ride. Now let's have a look at our Cannondale profile here on George. 38 now, George. He's 170 pounds, a big man to get over the mountains of yesterday. He's officially a Domestika helper. Yesterday he became a winner once again. Now let's go to the podium and see last night the yellow jersey presented to TJ Van Garderen at 23, one of the youngest riders in the race.
23 years of age, just a week ago when he was in the Tour of Utah when he won the individual time trial. But this young man at 23 years of age rides with a serious amount of experience.
So he wears the Quiznos yellow jersey. These are the United Healthcare overall standings now. TJ starts the time trial last today, looking 16-second advantage over Hincapie, 22 over Tommy Danielson, 34 over Leipheimer. Every one of these riders rode the Tour de France, including the winner of the Tour de France, Cadel Evans, who sits in 6th place. He's looking for 51 seconds. And remember how he had rode the time trial on stage 20 of the Tour de France last July. Well, it is a race, you know, which has brought such an atmosphere here to Vail. It's a tough course, Paul. They've ridden it before 20-odd years ago in the Old Course Classic. They know how hard it is.
You know, the amazing thing about this course, Bill, is it's all uphill. Once they come out of the starting gate, they go downhill for about half a mile, and then all of a sudden it's uphill right the way to the finishing line, and that's going to be a big decider this afternoon. We will start to see the time gaps opening. Yes, it's based in Vail, but I tell you what, downtown here is unbelievable. Look at the profile. It doesn't look very vicious at all, does it? But try riding this on your own as we go away from Gore Creek Drive through South Frontage Road into North Frontage Road. All of the time we're going uphill, and bear in mind we are starting this race at 8,100 feet in altitude to get up to the finishing line at 9,600 feet. And by the way, if you can talk new money, Phil, that's 3,000 meters in altitude.
Yes, well, that's our Radio Shack route today, and believe me, it belies the pain which will be caused out there on the course. Let's have a look then at our stage facts today, brought to us by Colorado.com. 124 riders left now. We lost 4 riders in that crash yesterday, by the way. 12 of the 17 teams are intact. The riders will initially start at 1-minute intervals, and you can hear another one just went. The last 10 riders go at 2-minute intervals. The course record is by Andy Hamilton, 26 minutes 33 back in 1987, and the altitude at the finish 9,643 feet. So there you have it. Let's have a look at early today in the start order. We're hearing the riders go off. This is the Nissan Electric Leaf start as the riders launched onto the start ramps and out and away. A little bit of picture trouble there as we see Dave Zabriskie just gone past his Minuteman there, which is Walter Pedralis, as he starts to cut through the field here. Looks as though Dave's got himself off to a pretty good start today out of the start house. He started around 10 minutes to 2 local time, so he's been riding with just on 15 minutes at the moment. So we switch back down to the start house here. Just looking to, this will be the Skill Shimano rider Thomas Bonin, who is about to go. Bonin, he's a Frenchman on the Dutch team. Jason McCartney is the man with the best time. There it is, 27 minutes 26. He's an American rider. He rides for Radio Shack. He'll be 38 years old in just about a week's time, and he's turned in a pretty good ride at the moment. Now, we did say earlier Andy Hampson holds the course record at 26 minutes and 33 seconds. The Australian Ben Day has gone quicker in the Tiva Mountain Games in 2008 with 25 minutes and 48, but nobody can verify it was exactly the same distance as that covered by Hampson back in the 80s. So there are 2 quick times there anyway. Now let's have a look how Jason did it, because he started pretty early today. He's the 12th rider out of the start house, and it's got hotter and hotter by the minute here in Vail. And look at this crowd. Now, are we in Vail or are we on the Tour de France? Well, ask me that question. It's a tremendous atmosphere here today, and these people are not just interstate Coloradians. They are coming from all over the United States. We've met them from New York, from California, from New Mexico. They're here to enjoy their day in Vail. There's the standings then at the moment. Laurens ten Dam, the man that crashed in the Tour de France, has just come in with the second best time. Now looking at Ted King. So move down the ranks now, Paul. This is Ted King in the start house. Nobody challenging as yet the time of Jason McCarthy up there at the finish. Laurens ten Dam just arrived with a second best time, 44 seconds off the pace, which tells us just how quick Jason has gone.
Yeah, I don't think we'll start to see that time of Jason McCartney, Phil, get threatened until we see the big names starting in the back end of the start sheet this afternoon. Unless, of course, Dave Zabriskie does a good performance. It's not necessarily the kind of time trial course that Dave Zabriskie would like, because it's slightly uphill. You can actually see there that he's riding on his inside chainring, and that's an indication that we've got a little bit of a serious gradient going on here.
As it starts fairly steady, but then it does kick up towards the finishing line, and you've got to pace your effort. This is Zabriskie. Dave Zabriskie here, the road a bit broken up from the winters here. It's not used at all now, really. The cyclists are telling me it's more or less their own property in the summer months here, because the cars are sent around. But Dave Zabriskie, to me, looks to be going good at the moment. We've got no time checks midway. We'll find out what he does when we come back. Well, let's have a look at the United Healthcare leaders here. The Quiznos yellow on the shoulders of Van Garderen today. The points, Smashburger points on Levi Leipheimer. The Nissan, the King of the Mountains, is Pedraza after yesterday. And the Sheets young rider is TJ Van Garderen, but he can't wear 2 jerseys, so the second place man in the competition will wear blue today. Now, Dave Zabriskie is about 1.5 kilometers, more or less a mile now from the finish of the time trial. It doesn't appear terribly uphill, but we are going up just below 10,000 feet by the time we get to this finishing line, as Zabriskie starts towards the finish. Now, as we're just watching here at the moment, now you did see those horrible pictures of the facial injuries yesterday of the Italian cyclist, and that was Daniele Calagarini of Team Type 1's. Well, Bob Roll has an update with us now as he talks to the PR man of Team Type 1, Chris Baldwin.
On yesterday's stage, we saw some of the dramatic pictures from a big crash at the start of the stage involving Ivan Basso and Daniele Calagarin. I'm here with Chris Baldwin from Team Type 1 Sanofi to show us some of the aftermath to the helmet and update us on Daniele's condition.
Daniele underwent surgery overnight with plastic surgeons in Denver. He was air evac'd out of a hospital in Gunnison, where they took excellent primary care of him. Initially, he lost a few teeth. He has some lacerations to his lower face and jaw. He broke both hands, and one of the things we're happiest about, though, is that he's fine today. He's knows where he is. He's in good physical condition, and we're hoping to send him back home to Italy on Sunday.
And this is what happened to the crash helmet?
Yeah, unfortunately, there are two types of crashes in professional bike racing. So there's the one where you crash and skid, and there's the one where you crash and stop. Daniele's crash yesterday was the second kind. Luckily, his helmet took the brunt of the blow to the top part of his head, and he survived fine with almost no damage.
Well, wish him best of luck in his recuperation from us.
Thank you very much.
Yes, well, thank heavens he's okay. It was a very, very unfortunate crash. One of those gratings across the road, apparently. There, 1 kilometer to go for Dave Zabriskie. Is this going to better the time of Jason McCartney at 27:26 is what we're looking at. At the moment, I think we'll see a considerable improvement on that towards the end as they start to battle out for the next leader of this race. But that's a little way down the road. At the moment, this is a man riding with pride. Silver medalist in the World Time Trial Championships, the current the current USA Time Trial Champion. So he'll want to pull every inch of this road to his advantage now. Hugging it nice on the right. Dave Zabriskie going around this right-hand bend, the tightest possible corner. Climbing always in this event. He goes straight across in as a line now to nip off the far corner where the flag is. At least he should do if he's going to save distance, because time is of the essence for Dave Zabriskie. It'll be an indication whether he's coming back in time for the World Championships, which are in Denmark next month. And it wouldn't surprise me if he tries again to recover in time to take part in that World Championship time trial. The crowd came up here mostly by bicycle. They are running a coach service as well to halfway up. We're watching Oscar Alvarez finish down at the top there. 40th place for him, 30:28. Still Jason McCartney, but watch out now because Zabriskie is closing in on the finishing line here. The riders then do a little warm down very quickly, jump in the team cars and are taken down the interstate highway back to the Vail town itself, because that's where all the presentations will be made later today. Another rider who started in front of Zabriskie has just gone round that corner, so I think he's caught 2 and possibly 3 men on the road today, which indicates he might be going pretty well. Now let's hope our pictures are going to hold a bit steady today. We had real problems with ice on the wings of the aircraft yesterday, and the pilot, we found out after it, had a real job controlling the airplane. He simply had to get out of the top of Independence Pass quickly. Yes, there is the one rider just in front of Dave Zabriskie. And I don't know by how far, but it's quite a long way. As Zabriskie now, this is the old Dave Zabriskie coming up towards the line now. Tongue out, so concentrating on the clock. A final kick to the line is time that matters. And look at the clock here. Well, he goes top of the leaderboard, that's for sure. How long will he stay there? We'll find out. A final surge by Zabriskie, 26:46. That's gone very, very close to Andy Hampson's record. A little bit behind the record set by Ben Day in 2008. So as we see Dave Zabriskie cool down there, we've now got a new best time there by Dave Zabriskie. He's delivered the goods at the moment at 26:46 for him. Remember, it's a time for the win, and there's a time for the battle of the next leader of this race. That's all still to come. New leader, Dave Zabriskie. We're back, and just in time, the countdown here for Andy Schleck, the Luxembourger, 3-time second in the Tour de France, including this year. He lost his Tour de France when he was wearing yellow in the time trial. Can he do a good time trial today? A huge crowd in Vail. Just cheer. Look at this. Just cheering him out of the precinct. A very technical start this, but he seems to have got off very, very quickly. On the left is the Interstate 70. Down below us is the race route, which is now the bypassed road, and perfect for the time trial. Now, things are changing at the top. Zabriskie, we've seen, come in with the best time. Gretsch has just crept into second place during our break at 29 seconds off. McCartney now down to third, and Sylvester Schmidt in fourth with Neerman in fifth. Danny Pate slots in there in sixth place at the moment. So we're underway with one of the big names of this year's USA Pro Cycling Challenge, Andy Schleck, now trying to do a good time. He couldn't cope with the altitude yesterday, and he lost 5 minutes coming into the finish in Aspen. So now he'll have to reevaluate exactly what he wants to take home out of this race. It won't be the final yellow jersey, will it? But you know, he'll go looking for a stage win, because he knows how well respected and liked he is here in the United States. So Andy's underway, and very shortly we'll start by running into the bigger names who are racing for the overall. So let's, while we're waiting to get some more of the bigger names to start, Bob Roll is now with Brad White of United Healthcare at the start, and he's going to tell us all about the custom in-ear pieces, courtesy of their new partner and the sponsor, Westone.
I'm here with Brad White from the United Healthcare cycling team, and Westone is one of their sponsors. They make earbuds. Brad, run us through these units.
Yes, this is a UM1 series that we have here. It's a custom headphone, and they fit nicely in the ear, just like this. Great to cancel out that noise, and great sound quality with the
It goes right the way up.
A town created for skiing, Vail is the host of today's time trial in the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. Although some of the best skiing in the world is nearby, visitors may be surprised to know Vail has become one of the premier year-round resort towns in America, with biking, kayaking and golf and fishing readily available to guests. But today it welcomes the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. Now let's get back out on course and pick up Andy. This is Andy Schleck, 3-time second in the Tour de France, including this year to Cadel Evans. Lost time on Independence Pass yesterday. I think it was about 2,000 feet too high for him, and his European upbringing this year let him down a bit there, and he fell off the back. And then the rain didn't help either on the way down, but he lost a little bit of time there too. Cadel Evans, the man that beat him in the Tour de France and in a time trial, let's not forget, he fared rather better, and he's still very much in the hunt for the final yellow in Denver when this race ends on Sunday. Schleck, this is where he has to concentrate. He has to really practice the time trial, and then he might win the Tour de France next year. Well, Andy making steady progress. No change overall. Zabriskie still on top with Gretsch and McCartney. That's the order at the finishing line. If Andy was to break that, then it would be a bit of a surprise. I think that's fair to say. Velic came in 5th place, by the way, 48 seconds off the pace.
That's not a bad ride by Velic, but we will see some big rides coming down towards the end. It has been said that this course really does suit Levi Leipheimer, but he's looking for a big chunk of time to try and pull himself back up in the overall standings. He lost 45 seconds yesterday, which I think was a bit of a surprise to him, and he has to make back 34 seconds on TJ Van Garderen if he wants to get himself back the overall lead.
He's the Englishman, Dan Lloyd, lives just outside of London, coming up towards the finish now. And Dan making a little final effort, 29, so he's inside the half hour, and 27th best time if you break the half hour at the moment. There's 16 kilometers up the hill. Fastest time we've ever known on here, but we're not absolutely sure whether the start and finish was the same, was by the Australian Ben Day, 25:48 in 2008. 10 kilometers to go for Andy Schleck.
Doesn't look too bad at all. I was just saying about his position, Phil. The big problem is he's a very tall rider, and he can't get quite down as low as guys like Dave Zabriskie and Levi Leipheimer, which gives them a slight advantage when it comes to aerodynamics. Andy, with his position that he's got here, probably loses a couple of seconds a kilometre, and doesn't make any difference whether you're going uphill or down dale. You still need to be able to get into that really difficult tuck position.
Yes, and I often wonder if he realises how much work he's got to do, Paul, to perfect his time trialling. Not everybody can do it. That's why we call it the race of truth. But he needs to spend a little bit of his winter in the wind tunnels and the aerodynamic studies and try and get himself into time trialling shape. Because until he can time trial really well, he's not going to win the Tour de France.
No, certainly he needs to I think spend a bit of time and just train in that discipline and try and learn a little bit of a technique. It is difficult when you're a climber to learn how to ride a good individual time trialer, because what happens when you start to improve in one discipline in the sport, you tend to lose out a little bit in another discipline. So if he starts to become too good a time trialist, he'll lose that ability to climb the way he does. And the way we saw him climb in the Alps this year at the Tour de France was absolutely amazing.
Yes, he took on the patron of the Tour, if you like. He really did, as he tried to win the Tour de France. Now, this is Alejandro Ramirez. We saw him in action yesterday. An incredible ride he did on the Cottonwood Pass to bridge 4¼ minutes in the peloton up to the leaders, and then he went over the top in second place. Clearly hasn't struggled at all today because he's enjoying the weather and the height, but he's not raced a great time trial. 29th position at the moment, and we still have plenty of men behind him. We did see an old journalist friend of ours today, Hector Urago, as we watched the arrival here of Bennett coming in, and again he's just inside. A little bit better though than Alejandro. 16th for him at the moment for George Bennett. Complete the tail, Hector Urago, friend of ours we knew well from the Tour de France. He's a Colombian. He's come all the way from Bogota to watch what he has called the next generation of top Colombian cyclists.
No, he's very excited. He was one of the top Colombian radio commentators in the era of the 1980s, when Lucho Herrera and Fabio Parra were the guys who were dominating all of the climbs on international cycling. And it's good to see that there's a regeneration and a rebirth of Colombian cycling, because when you see those guys climb in the mountains, they are really very dramatic.
Yes, they're absolutely picture book, because they appear to be real natural climbers in the mountains. Now, this is where the road becomes solely for the cyclists as we continue on the old road here. And Andy Schleck is about 8 kilometers now from the finish, as he gets a little bit steeper at this point going up to the line. Pushing himself on back into the saddle there as he continues on his way. Dave Zabriskie, though, is still on top with a great time at 26:46. Gretsch is there in second place, and Jason McCartney, our early leader, is now down to third. But the battle for yellow is still to come. Welcome back to Vail in the time trial, the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. Look at this. Andy Schleck has just caught for 1 minute Chad Bayer here of Team BAC. I think we can show you that again, as it's just happened moments ago. Andy is taking this time trial very serious. I think he uses these time trials now as a form of practice because he's got to improve in the time trial. Well, that is a catch for 1 minute by Andy Schleck, and I can't remember him doing that for quite some time. And this is Thomas Peterson here, wants a stage win in the Tour of California. 46th for him, just inside that 30 minutes for the climb. So as Andy Schleck continues now to move away from Chad, he's quite clearly, Paul, taking this quite seriously, even though he lost his chance at final victory yesterday.
Yeah, well, I think, Phil, a lot of these European riders who've come to ride this USA Pro Cycling Challenge, they're using this race to try and test themselves at this altitude, because they realise how important and what an advantage it will have for them for the rest of the season. When you come up to altitude like this and you stay for, it's going to be almost 3 weeks at altitude for Andy Schleck. So when he goes back to Europe after this, he's going to be in fine shape.
Now listen to the cheers here. We've gone back down to the start in the centre of Vail, and that is for Ivan Basso, a second and a third place finisher in the Tour de France and twice the winner of the Giro d'Italia. And yesterday on the floor and hurt his right wrist. I'm just trying to see if there's any bandage on that wrist, but at least he's here and he looks cool, and the crowd love him.
No, very popular. In fact, I've been amazed, Phil. This man actually has a Twitter account, and he's one of the very, very rare riders who actually twitters in 3 different languages, English, French, and Italian.
Technical start this. You can't take too much of a risk going out of that little start house because you have a sweeper within the precinct area here of Vail, and this is the one, the sharp left-hander, as Andy Schleck continues to go up through the crowd now.
Well, that gentleman on the left-hand side, well, it's a lady, actually put a little bit of weight on, I think, today.
Yes, well, what can I say?
Not a lot, really.
She can't keep up either, as Andy Schleck has blown by.
It's amazing to think that Andy's in 44th place overall. He's lost over 5 minutes, but he is trying to do a good ride in the individual time trial here.
So coming up towards the finishing line now, this will be Javier Mejias of the team Type 1.
Well, this is a team actually with a message that they're trying to get across. It's not just for racing bikes around the world, racing bikes around Colorado. There's a number of riders on this team actually do have type 1 diabetes, and they're trying to prove to the world that you can race at the top level of the sport, even if you do have a disability like type 1 diabetes.
Just slipped outside the half hour there, 52nd place, but some of these riders at this depth of the part of the overall classification are not going to race that hard because they're not racing for yellow. It's the boys at the back who need all of their time. 5 kilometers to go now for Andy Schleck, so he's distanced by her.
Well, that's 3.1 miles to go up to the summit. Andy Schleck really is giving a hard ride here, and also let's not forget that his brother Frank is pretty well up in the overall standings. He's just outside of the top 10, and his times will be used as a marker by Andy.
Ryder Hejjedal, 7th in the Tour de France last year. He got better and better in this year's Tour de France. Didn't quite get the same position, but he was part of the successful winning team Garmin-Sabella. He's a Canadian, and there are Canadians with us here in Vail today. We've been speaking with them, and he's a very popular Canadian cyclist as well.
Well, that's the one thing to remember about a race like this event here in Colorado. It's not just about the state. People come from out of state, people come from out of country to visit the bike race. It generates an awful lot of money for the economy. We go every year to the Santos Tour Down Under, and that event over a week in South Australia raises revenues for around about $35 to $40 million.
Cadel Evans warming up behind the scenes. It's not quite the Tour de France, and there's the importance of the penultimate day of July for him when he became the first Australian winner. But we have a feeling that Cadel wants to win this race. So we'll see today just how good he is out on course. This is actually Ted King now for Liquigas. He's further on the way, and he's coming up towards the finishing line here. That's it's going to just drop in the mid-50s here as he comes up, because he'll be just on the half hour, I think, when he crosses the line.
It's a tough time trial when you bear in mind we're looking at an average speed here, Phil, at around about 20 miles an hour. That's an indication of how tough this individual time trial is. If you ride an individual time trial of this distance on the flat, you'd probably be doing 19 or 20 minutes.
Yeah, well, he's just beaten the half hour, which is fair enough for Ted King on the Liquigas team, Liquigas Cannondale. And Andy Schleck now in the lonely sector of the course here. Not too many spectators as he runs into this last 4 kilometers of the day. He's putting his head down and concentrating. Alongside Cadel Evans on the left here is our winner of yesterday, George Hincapie, and that win catapulted him up to 2nd overall. He's on the same team as Cadel, so they now have a 2-pronged attack here, because Paul Hincapie will ride a good time trial, I think.
No, he's a top rider. Never forget that George Hincapie, he's been a professional since 1994. A couple of years ago in the Tour de France, he missed out on winning the opening day prologue by a fraction of a second to Thor Hushovd.
Yes, he did. And now we've gone back to Andy. 44th overall at the start of the day. He lost 5 minutes yesterday. Rather sad, because everybody wanted to see Andy be up amongst it and fighting and starting at the back of the group today. It's not to be. Couldn't handle the altitude. And amazingly, the top 5 riders overall, and they are the last 5 riders to start, are all from America, and they all took part in July's Tour de France. So the form continues. Let's go back into the start house. Brent Bookwalter. Now this man could produce a surprise.
Well, he was high up in the overall standings after the prologue. He rode a very good individual prologue. In fact, he finished in 3rd place, and he too will try and ride himself into the top 10 if he can. It's going to be a massive challenge. It's amazing when you talk about that top 10, Phil, the top 5 even. Christian van der Velde, Levi Leipheimer, Tommy Danielson, George Hincapie and TJ Van Garderen, all from the United States.
Brent starts now. He's a very good time trialist. His job mainly is to look after Cadell Evans, but today he's on his own. He's free to fly and do his best performance, and there'll be plenty of people cheering him on.
Certainly will. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now, down to the top end of the overall standings, when the big boys will come out to play. TJ Van Garderen will be extremely motivated in this individual time trial. He was happy to get second place yesterday because he inherited the race leader's yellow jersey, but today he has to do something special to try and make sure that Hincapie, Danielson and Leipheimer don't overtake him.
Not a bad time from Alexander Efokine here of Russia as he comes up towards the line. He's going to be in the top 40 for the moment at least as he comes round. Oh, he's even better than that. 28.42 is worth 24th place at the moment.
Not a bad ride by him, one of the leaders of Team Type 1. He come across here to join his brother. The two riders, both from Russia, the two real leaders of Team Type 1. Andy Schleck, number 21, still on the course. Keeps putting his head right down into the middle of his handlebars there. That's to try and make himself just that little bit more aerodynamic, but I do have to feel that he is sitting up a little bit too high. Christian van der Velde now also preparing for his start.
Most important, they'll spend half an hour on the little indoor trainers here, just getting a good sweat on, getting that body ready to go, because with the time trial, and especially a mountain type time trial, you've got to leave that start house on fire, your heart up to optimum use. This is Tommy Danielson. Overnight we've heard reports he's had a little bit of gastroenteritis. Now we don't know how serious it is, of course. We haven't spoken to him, but these are the rumours. Well, we'll see, because this is a big move for Tommy D now. He starts the day third from the end, so that means he's third overall.
No, it's important for him. He really is motivated to win this bike race.
So as we stay here looking at Andy Schleck, let's go down to the start line now, because I think Bob Roll is talking with the last man to start, TJ Van Garderen.
TJ, your first day to defend the jersey. How was it overnight? Was it a little bit of jitters there?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, had to work to calm myself down so I could get to sleep. But yeah, I'm feeling pretty good today.
Have a pretty good lead over some of the danger men. What do you think today how it will unfold today?
I mean, I expect Levi and Tom to put in a good ride. I mean, George, like, I wouldn't discount him too. I mean, I think there's not too many bunch sprinters here, and George is still pretty quick. So if he can take a couple stages and some time bonuses, like, he'll have some definitely some motivation to stay up there on time today. So I mean, I think between us four, it's gonna be a tight race.
Nice to have some of your family to visit you at the races.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I have like so many family and friends here in Colorado, and it's awesome to have this sort of hometown support. Like, kind of know what Thomas Vauclair was feeling in the tour now.
All right, TJ, best of luck.
Thanks, Bob.
A wise man, and a young man at that. Last man to start. I bet he was nervous last night taking on some of these riders from the Tour de France today. And I think we can go and have a look and show you Jens Voigt just finishing. Here he is. This is moments ago. Favourite of the crowd, 40 years of age, and he's done another great ride. He's moved into second place with this ride, and he finished in the top 5 in the opening prologue time trial. That boy just does not slow down. So there we are. Jens Voigt is now into second place, just 3 seconds. That is an incredibly good ride from Jens Voigt, as he's only 3 seconds slower than Zabriskie. Well, what can you say, Paul? 3 seconds slower than Zabriskie. Jens never slows down, does he? There's Leipheimer warming up.
Yeah, all of these guys, and it's a long day. People always think that a time trial stage it's a short day. It's a day off for these guys, but it's not, Phil, because they start very early in the morning. They have an early breakfast between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning. Then they'll go out for a ride from between 1.5 to 2 hours, a gentle ride out on the open road. Then they come back and eat again to get themselves topped up with energy. And then this last moment of warm-up, this warm-up will take them anything anything from 30 to 45 minutes, and they'll get the heart rate up as high as possible. But you might just notice, very well, briefly there, I was just going to point out that Levi Leipheimer is wearing a jacket. That's an ice jacket to keep his core body temperature down as low as possible.
There it is, and that's keeping him as cool as he possibly can while he warms up. It sounds a little bit of a contradiction, doesn't it? But Leipheimer knows this type of time trial will suit him. He's got to repair the damage of yesterday when he conceded 45 seconds on the run-in to TJ Van Garderen. I think, you know, a little bit of an older man, and he didn't want to take the chances coming down Independence Pass, perhaps in the wet, and it cost him. But it didn't cost him the race yet. Slowing down a bit, there are glimpses of Andy there. Looks as though he's getting a bit tired.
Yeah, he's getting to the steeper part of the course, a little bit further down the road, though. Ivan Basso looking very good, a good individual time trial. As you can see, he's on his large chainring. But if you look at the back of the sprockets there, he's halfway up the cluster. That's an indication, again, that we're going uphill. It's about the max's 1 kilometre to go mark now, Phil, for Andy Schleck.
And the crowd willing to cheer him on here. The chance, they haven't had to travel all the way to the French Alps or the Pyrenees. They just have to go down to Vail, Colorado, and do what they do best, and that's run alongside the riders. But they can't outrun Andy today. He'll be glad for the finish now, I think. I think he's got a little bit tired in that last 2 or 3 kilometres. In fairness, that's where the course does kick up. As always, the cameras don't really show you just how these gradients are, quite steep at this point. This is Pat McCarthy now coming up towards the finish.
Well, he's the winner of the King of the Mountains competition at the Amgen Tour of California in the early part of this season. Not a bad ride for him. He's just about going to stop the clock inside of 29 minutes. Well, there you go. Prove me wrong. 29.06.
Well, 37th place for Pat. That's a very good ride. This is a world-class field. Arguably the best field ever racing in Colorado. Remember that big-time racing is now back in this state, and I have to say it is a most beautiful state. Every town is different in its own character. Here comes Ben King coming up now. Another good ride being delivered here. Another top 30 places if he can just sprint up towards the line. For the Radio Shack man, he'll be called into action tomorrow, of course, to try and help Levi Leipheimer continue his quest to win this race. But he should make the top 35 at the moment, even better, 28th.
Solid ride by him, getting inside of the top 30, but not too far away from the finish. We should have Andy Schleck. Now this is TJ Van Garderen, the leader of this bike race, 23 years of age, Phil, and he really is quite a remarkable bike rider. We noted him last year when he finished 3rd in the Criterium de Dauphiné and managed to ride up alongside guys like Alberto Contador and Yanni Brakovic on the slopes of the Alpe d'Huez.
He's proved himself. Now this year he started to win. He got his first Tour de France ride, and then he got a win in the time trial on the Tour of Utah, his first as a pro. Let's go back out on course and enjoy the atmosphere here for the Luxembourger Andy Schleck. This is the man the crowd wanted to see, to bring him on. They don't care where he started in the time trial. They just want to see Andy Schleck racing on Colorado's roads.
No, they certainly do. He's tried hard here, but you can see the clock. It never tells too many lies here in the individual time trial, and he's slipping away from the top end of the leaderboard. He's not even going to challenge his own teammate, Jens Voigt, who has currently moved himself up into 2nd place overall.
Well, I think he might make just inside top 30 as he comes up to the line. So, even better, 10th place. That's not a bad ride. There must be an awful lot of riders packing in by just a second or so around that time of him. So there we are. That's the situation at the moment. But of course, the battle for yellow is now nicely warmed up. Welcome back. This is the situation at the moment. TJ Van Garderen, sorry, this is the situation and the top situation with these men still to start. Van Garderen, Hincapie, Danielson, Leipheimer, Van der Velde, the top 5 men in the United Healthcare overall standings, and they're all American. Now let's go back out on course. It's just about time to see Frank Schleck, I think, get out of that start house. Brother Andy has finished, and there he is, looking straight into camera. The countdown for Frank. A nice little smile for the man who's enjoying himself. He said the other day when he finished the first stage of Crested Butte, he'd only been that high in an aeroplane before. He went even higher yesterday. Very popular man, former winner of the Tour of Luxembourg and the Tour of Switzerland. This is out on course with Ivan Basso. The lonely stretch of the course now as they move on towards the finishing line for Ivan. No change overall, by the way. Zabriskie hangs in there, having just bettered the time of Jens Voigt, who finished not long ago. All right, well, let's go back now to Bob Roll, who is discussing the Nissan innovation. What have you got for this time, Bob?
Way back in the Jurassic period of bike racing, when I was a professional, all the shifting was mechanical, and it was done from the same position on the bicycle, right about here on the down tooth. The shift lever moved a cable that moved all of the gears. Nowadays, one of the most creative innovations in cycling is electronic shifting. Just with the click of a little button, you can change the gears. This is most helpful in the time trial. Rather than reach down and shift gears every time and move out of your aerodynamic position, the riders nowadays can stay in the exact same spot, barely move a millimeter, and change the gears to find the ideal pedaling cadence. A great innovation in cycling today.
Thanks very much, Bob. That was our Nissan innovation, electric gear shifters. What will we see next in the world of cycling? Looking straight up the valley now. It's usually a tailwind up the valley. 4 kilometers to go for Ivan Basso, so he'll be a little while. It'll be about 5.5 minutes before Basso gets up to that finishing line. It'll be interesting to see what he has done. No change in the overall, as Zabriskie still heads the leaderboard. So we'll take a break. Rejoin us here in Vail very shortly. Welcome back to Vail. This is the third stage, the time trial today here in Vail, brought to you by Colorado.com. No change in the overall at all. The American time trial champion Dave Zabriskie looks to be climbing back up to form. Let's have a look though at the United Healthcare race reset here. It was started off as Zabriskie setting the trend, and he still holds the best time at 26:46, but still to go are all the men that matter in this year's race. Tommy Danielson will be third to last to go. Hincapie second last. Finally, the yellow jersey of TJ Van Garderen. And this is Ivan Basso, the two-time winner of the Tour of Italy, now closing in on the finishing line. He's just a couple of kilometers out from the finish. So Basso, the sun getting a little bit higher in the sky now. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon here in Vail. It is very, very hot today. Despite the altitude these riders are up, approaching 9,500 feet, it is still very, very warm indeed. In fact, it's a perfect day for a bike race in Colorado. This race, it's the inaugural USA Pro Cycling Challenge, and even though it's halfway through its week of racing today, it's already been voted a success, and I think all of the towns want this race back next year. Standing still the same, Zabriskie, then comes Jens Voigt, a brilliant ride by Jens, 3 seconds slower than the pure time trialist, and it's 2K now for Basso out on course. Gretsch, who won in Colorado Springs the opening prologue short time trial, he's dropped down to third now. McCartney, our early leader, he's down into fourth. So just past the 2K marker for Ivan Basso. Now
Basso's still looking pretty good. All of these riders wanting to test themselves and see how they can operate at this altitude. The majority of this race is in excess of 2,600 meters in altitude. This is number 93 coming up to the finish line. Again, a rider from Team Time 1, and this is Rubens Bertogliati, a former winner of the opening stage of the Tour de France.
Yes, we remember that a few years ago. Nobody knew who on earth it was who'd won the stage. It was in Luxembourg, in fact, and he pulled on the yellow jersey as well. That was his big moment of his career. As we go back now to see Robert Gesink here, the Dutchman, who still rates himself for a high finish, but slipped a little bit the other day in the mountains.
Yeah, but this individual time trial could suit his abilities. He's an extremely good climber, and he may well use this mountain time trial to pull himself a bit higher in the overall standings. He starts the day filling 8th place, and he's looking for 1 minute and 4 seconds on TJ Van Garderen.
And because of that, he's the 8th from the end to start the time trial today of the 124 riders going towards Denver, where we end on Sunday. And we're at 2-minute intervals now to try and stop the catches between the stars, as it were. So Gesink is on course.
So back looking down here at the hands of Ivan Basso, you can just see the brake, the gear levers right on the end.
So this is now Ivan Basso here, continuing. We've just seen a good start there by Robert Gesink. As Basso is closing in on the finish, but he hasn't made it yet. We'll take another short break. The situation isn't changing at all just now. I've got a feeling it might change in the next few minutes, though. Zabriskie, Voigt, Bertogliati in third. Welcome back, and in time in the start house, the winner of the Tour de France, first Australian ever, Cadel Evans, now waits to go. Tense moments for the man that won the Tour de France in the time trial. And now he's come here for his next big adventure in Colorado. He knows he needs a ride equal to that one which won in the Tour de France if he's going to take over the yellow jersey today, which is on the shoulders of TJ Van Garderen, who will start 4 minutes behind him. And now quickly switching up to the summit. Here comes Ivan Basso coming up towards the top now. Stops the clock in 14th place. It's been a tough ride for Ivan. 27.59, 14th for him. I'd like to have seen him a little bit quicker as Evans makes his start down in the valley in the town of Vail itself. Now they just push Ivan over the line. He gets a chance to ride in a little circle around the corner. Then he's got to get in his team car and go back down the interstate where you can't ride your bike. So that's the way back to Vail for him today. No other way back. So Basso there inside the top 15. Like to have seen him a little bit quicker, I think. As we now look around the Rockies here, we might be able to bring you up to date with the overall. There's been no serious change, but Togliatti has come in 3rd place. That's the big change, I think. And 26 seconds slower than Dave Zabriskie. But Dave Zabriskie is going to start to be getting a little bit excited now, because we're down to the last few riders to start. And Cadel Evans and Christian van der Velde will go behind Evans at 2 minutes, and there he is in the start house. Then will Tom Tansman, George Hincapie, and finally TJ Van Garderen. Now Christian van der Velde, Paul, I think has got tremendous form. He had a great Tour de France. He's held on to his form. Don't be surprised if he pulls off something special today.
Oh, he's a very good individual time trialist, and the fact that it goes uphill, I think, could give him a slight advantage. Amazing to think Christian van der Velde participated in the Olympic Games, Phil, way back in 1996 in Atlanta.
Yes, and he's been a top bike rider since, a 4th place finish in the Tour de France. We thought it was a surprise at the time, but he's confirmed that ever since, and he's a very, very good boy. And the crowd are on his side as well. He comes from Illinois.
Well, his dad was a very good track rider as well. Dad rode the 6-day circuit in Europe. And Christian started off as a track rider, but he's really now recently become an incredibly good Grand Tour performer.
Now he gets out of the start house with a great deal of urgency, because this is a tricky old beginning around this left-handed sweeper. Just especially to the bend where we've got this guy waving the flag there. He needs to brake pretty hard for that. It's a tight start, and then it's out onto the highway, and that's where we're picking up number 1, Cadel Evans, now speeding towards the finish. He looks as though he's into a pretty fast cadence straight away.
Well, that's an impressive position as well. Just look at the position of this guy. This is a study of aerodynamics. Locked solid. He's got his hands right in the middle of those handlebars. He got his back nicely curved. His helmet is actually almost incorporated into his body. That's what makes him so aerodynamic at the front end of his machine. And you can tell this guy is going a lot faster, Phil, than anybody else. He's in top gear. You see the big chainring. That looks to me as if he's riding a 55-tooth chainring, and that will give him a massive gear development.
Well, the last time he rode a time trial, he won the Tour de France. Let's see what he can do today. Back to the top. This is Ryder Hagedal coming up now for Garmin Cervelo. And 14th, so he's displaced Basso there with his 27.56.
Not a bad ride by him, getting inside the top 15. I tell you what, though, don't forget Team Garmin Cervelo is the team that won the team classification at the Tour de France, and that's probably something they're eyeing up here in Colorado.
Yes, because they are a Colorado-based team these days. Their team owner, Jonathan Vaughters, down in Denver, as we now see a nice side-on profile, briefly, of Cadel Evans there. Now back to the start house. It must be time here for Levi Leipheimer. There he is. He wears the green jersey here of Smashburger, but he has had the yellow as well, which he's still hunting for and still has a realistic chance to get it.
Looking for 34 seconds today on TJ Van Garderen. He's a very good individual time trialist, and talking to a number of people before the start, Phil, they reckon this time trial course is tailor-made for him.
Well, we still haven't hit the high spots yet. 26.33 is Andy Hampston's record here, and Ben Day, as I say, we're not too sure the start-finish point, but Ben did 25.48, and there was a pretty heavy tailwind blowing on that day when Ben did that in Australia. This is Brent Buchwalter coming up towards the finish, and a good ride. We expected this from Brent. I think he's a very good time trialist. Slots in nicely in 6th place with that ride. Now, he's the teammate of Cadel Evans, so he's laid a foundation there. That's a very, very good ride. He rode well over the shorter distance in Colorado Springs, He's gone well here too over the hillier distance here in Vail.
Yeah, he's 24th overall at the start of the day, looking for around about 3 minutes, and a solid ride like that, Phil, could have him popping in to the top 15. But look at this machine. This is an incredible machine. It's a Swiss machine, this BMC bike that Cadel Evans is riding at the moment. American-based team. It's going to be an incredible team next year. When you hear the names of people who have been signed by this team, Philippe Gilbert, Thor Hushoff, Cadel Evans, George Hincapie, they're starting to call BMC Racing Team, Phil, the dream team for next season.
Yes, it's taking over from where, unfortunately, Team HTC High Road are having to leave off this year as they say goodbye to the sport. They've been the most successful team for the last few years, and their riders are all finding berths on other squads, of course, because they were the top boys. And TJ Van Garderen riding for HTC High Road today, trying to fly the flag. Perfect farewell. Tom Danielson, now the reports were he was suffering from gastroenteritis overnight. Let's hope he's okay. We'll know in the next few minutes, that's for sure. He sits third overall. He starts 2 minutes behind Levi Leipheimer. That leaves 2 riders to follow him, George Hincapie and TJ Van Garderen.
He's only looking for 22 seconds to try and prize the yellow jersey off the shoulders of TJ Van Garderen. Again, as a good climber, Phil, this time trial should suit him.
These boys can ride the time trial. That's why it's going to be a very close race to call this. The top last 6 riders to go are all masters of the time trial, and they're going to have to give this a very special show today to alter the situation overall.
Phil, just looking at some of the information on Vail. The Vail was actually incorporated back in 1966. A couple of years ago, the population of the town was only 4,500 people. I think it's swelled quite a bit in numbers today, though.
I think they got message that the race was coming to town, that's for sure, yes. And we're going back to Cadel Evans here.
He looks good. He looks extremely solid. He's a great competitor, Cadel Evans. He was very tenacious in the Tour de France this year. He watched all the other guys, and when he felt that they were not taking the responsibility of controlling the bike race, he went to the front with his team. His team had complete confidence. They had only one goal in the Tour de France this year. That was to look after this man. Whether it was on the flat, whether it was in the mountains, they were always solidly alongside him.
Well, Evans is chasing the Colombian Acevedo, who may not be so hot in the time trial, but looking right ahead of Cadel around that bend, I don't see anybody in the shape of a cyclist. Remember, though, he's got to bridge 2 minutes, and 2 minutes to a cyclist at these speeds is going to be the best part of 1 3/4 miles.
Levi Leipheimer's got some great form coming off the Tour de France. He had a very unfortunate Tour de France, and we're looking at now George Hincapie, Greenville, South Carolina resident. He's about to start.
Yes, and as you can hear from the crowd, they love him here.
Originally from Queens. In fact, I was asked to remind everybody that George Hincapie's his background, actually, his father was from Colombia in South America, so they're outing him as I would say, an addition to the Colombian squads here.
Yes, that's right. We do read our Twitter site, you see. What about the other Colombian you've been saying, George Hincapie? Yes, he was originally Colombian. Dad, they speak in their own language at times. But last time I saw George, he was in New York. Now he's in Carolina, and he's on his way here in Vail, Colorado. He's quickly snipping through those gears, getting into a settlement here. Short touch of the brakes as he swings around the left-hander. I expect to see some good times coming out of George today. He's got the reason to ride well now in 2nd overall.
He certainly has. He's only looking for 16 seconds, and I think he's nursing some very good form in this USA Pro Cycling Challenge. And if he got himself the victory yesterday, that was an indication that this man is taking this event extremely seriously.
And remember, he's on the same team as Cadel Evans, and Brent Buchwalter has come in with the 6th best time just now. So that team could be totting up top 3 places for the team race.
No, they certainly could. As a solid squad. We're looking here at Levi Leipheimer getting into his extremely low tuck position. This is a position that he's adopted over the last couple of seasons. He's used this, he's studied this in the wind tunnels.
Well, we didn't see it finish, Paul. My computer says Rafael Infantino has come in with the best time, 25 minutes 51. Well, we didn't see him finish, but that's what the computer is saying.
Well, that's a man who was extremely aggressive just a couple of days ago out on the open roads, and that really is quite remarkable if that's true.
Well, we'll get confirmation of that, but it looks as though the man who was in the breakaway, remember, he started the move yesterday going up the Independence Pass, and he was nailed back by the top three on the way down, but it's confirmed 25:51 from the Colombian rider Rafael Infantino, and we didn't see him cross the finishing line. So that's a top time, and that's knocked Dave Zabriskie back by a massive 56 seconds into second place.
And what about the record?
Yes, well, he's just outside the record of Ben Day with that ride. He smashed Andy Hampston. We're looking now at TJ Van Garderen. Just as Infantino has finished on top, Van Garderen will get the start. 4 seconds. Let's hear the cheers for the man in yellow. Well, he's off and running now. Big moments for him. He got the yellow jersey in Aspen, where Jessica Phillips, his girlfriend, was riding a bike race there yesterday, and that's where she comes from. Now he's gone down the road a couple of hours to Vail, and he rides in yellow today. Can he win the time trial, or at best, can he keep his lead? Back up to Cadel Evans, who's looking pretty cool out there.
No, Cadel looking very solid, riding over to the left-hand side of the road. Every now and again he puts his hands down. You can see Christian van der Velde. This is a very important. The big men now, Phil, are all out on the open road, riding in their own little world.
Well, Van der Velde is looking also very, very smooth down there as we show you him on the road. I think we're going to see good times from all of these men now to finish.
Yes.
But the surprise, Rafael Infantino of the EPM team from Colombia delivered that 25:51 as we go to look at a very familiar racing style in the time trial of Levi Leipheimer here, the Radio Shack man, as he rides in the Smashburger Points jersey. He's got himself nicely into that position. Looks very uncomfortable to me, but it's very, very effective as far as Levi Leipheimer is concerned. This will suit him much more than the prologue time trial down in Colorado Springs, which is basically downhill to the finishing line. Steph Clement has also just finished while we're looking at Leipheimer, 37 seconds off, gone into second place. Dave Z has dropped down to third now. And Gustav Larsson, we didn't see him, silver medalist in the Beijing in the Olympic Games, 5th place for him, a minute 12 slower than Infantino. So the riders now finishing on the top as the big star names are starting from the bottom. Remember, this is where the bike race is with these last riders to start, because they are racing for the time differences that could alter the overall classification. And that's what they're thinking about right now. Well, Infantino, who has got the best time, he was only runner-up in the time trial championship of Colombia. The time trial champion is gone and hasn't done a good time today. But clearly Infantino has, because he's now got the best time, and there he is. Chance of showing him finishing. He's the man to beat as the race goes on. Welcome back. I remember that the Vuelta España is also running concurrently, and it is live on Universal Sports. Daily coverage beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Turning out to be quite a battle out there in the Tour of Spain with the heat as well as with the terrain. Check your local listings for details and enjoy that one as well. Now we're watching Cadel Evans here at the moment. He's looking extremely strong. Moments ago, Frank Schleck, this isn't Frank Schleck coming up the hill here. Frank Schleck it says, but it's certainly not Frank as he comes in. That's the Gobernación rider Heinau, who has just come in. And Frank was right up behind him there. So Frank actually did an incredible ride there, because he's bridged a minute to catch Sergio Heinau. And I don't think that was expected, not by Frank Schleck, because he's not that much of a noted time trialist. Frank's done a good ride there. Cadel Evans back out on course as he heads up towards the finish. Overall, Infantino is just outside the course record of Ben Day of Australia. As I say, we're not sure it's an exact comparison, but he's very, very close to Ben's time. Well, Frank Schleck has done a pretty good ride, Paul. He's come in just behind Sergio Heinau. He's was about 10 seconds behind him, so he bridged almost a minute. That's a good ride by Schleck against the Colombian climber.
Yeah, well, I reckon Frank Schleck has got some pretty impressive form here. He's definitely the better of the two Schleck brothers, and he's come out of the Tour de France and looked after his body fairly well. Levi Leipheimer is looking extremely fast here as well. We're talking big boys here. We're talking big names. Oscar Sevilla coming up to the top. He used to be a very good individual time trialist, but here I think he's going to slip quite possibly outside the top 25.
Yeah, he's well inside the half hour though, so it's a very respectable ride here for Oscar Sevilla as the clock is stopped. Oh, yes, 33rd place for Oscar. Welling, there's 124 riders in the event. Let's go back out on course here. Christian van der Velde, we don't know exactly what he's doing, but the body language is telling us going very, very quickly here.
I'll tell you what, impressive ride there by Staff Clement as well, the Rabobank rider, Dutch national time trial champion. He's coming in second place, looking for 37 seconds. But as you can see, Van der Velde pretty impressive out on the course now. Levi Leipheimer getting into that incredible tunnel of crowds.
Yes, and he knows here this is where he's got to stamp on those pedals and reply to the corridor of noise and try and lift his pace here. This is where he's got to claw back some of the time he lost yesterday. As he starts to go through that, heading up towards the summit now. Well, we'll take a break as the Devil takes a run on the left of our picture. They're all getting a bit excited out there. Well, they might, because the crucial men are on course now. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we'll see them all finish. And here he is out on course now, the youngster, the 23-year-old man who leads this for the USA. TJ Van Garderen now the sweeper today, the leader of the Tour overnight. Now, can he consolidate, or can he just hold on to his small gains? The crowd are waiting to see him before they dash down towards Vail itself to watch the presentations later. But Van Garderen is looking very, very smooth here. Now switching around as we continue on the road here. We've got Cadel Evans and Levi Leipheimer head to head as they continue. And I'm just wondering which one of these will come together, because they're both noted time trialists.
No, they're both extremely good individual time trialists. Levi Leipheimer realizes that he can turn the tables around here this afternoon in this time trial. He's looking for 34 seconds on TJ Van Garderen. He's got great form. We saw that by the incredible explosive nature with which he won that first opening stage, Phil.
Well, this is Levi Leipheimer now. He'll be 38 years of age in October, but as he said the other day, he seems to go better as he gets older. And at 38 for Levi, it's 23 for TJ Van Garderen here, as there's nobody now behind him. He's the man sweeping up as we go up the road. Quite a few minutes here, 2, 4, 6, 8, about 8 minutes we got the road to Cadel Evans from TJ Van Garderen. And Cadel now getting onto the slopes of the course where it gets a little bit hard.
Well, he's still stomping a massive big gear there, Phil, and we mustn't forget about Christian van der Velde, because we're getting reports from out on the course that Van der Velde is on a stormer here this afternoon. He's had so much bad luck over the last couple of seasons. You know, in 2009 and 2010, he was out of the sport for quite a period of time with broken bones.
Back to TJ. He won't know what anybody's doing, and he won't care. All he's got to do is the best time he can for himself. Don't forget, he starts today, TJ Van Garderen, 16 seconds quicker than George Hincapie, who's 2 minutes in front of him, and he's 22 seconds quicker than Tom Danielson, who rides on the road 4 minutes in front of him, and 34 on Levi Leipheimer, who is 6 minutes in front of him. They're the men he's thinking of right now. They're the men who could steal his jersey tonight.
It just amazes me, Phil, the start of the day, TJ Van Garderen had a 16-second advantage over George Hincapie and a 22-second advantage over Tommy Danielson. But when you look at them, when you talk to this guy at 23 years of age, he's just got so much confidence. He oozes confidence, and it's amazing. That's the kind of confidence it normally takes you 5 or 6 years to get that as a professional bike rider.
Oh, just look at this now. This is the sector where you run the gauntlet as a bike rider now, as they crash through the fans here, who are cheering and shouting for TJ. This is the future of American cycling we're looking at right now, and it starts here because he's already leading a major tour, and a new tour at that. Let's go quickly up to the summit now. This is Robert Hessing coming home now. Judging by his face, he's made a big effort. It's not a bad time from Robert. Well, I don't know. He slipped away just on the line, Paul. 30th in the end.
I would have expected a better time to come from Robert Hessing, actually, Phil, because he's a very good climber, and he's obviously struggled a little bit with the altitude. Let's bear in mind that we're racing here at around about, we're starting at 2,500 meters in altitude. We're actually starting this time trial at Galibier.
Yeah, absolutely right. Under the Maxis 1 kilometre sign now for Cadel Evans at just 0.6 of a mile to race to the line. Then we'll know exactly what he's done. But don't forget that Van der Velde is coming very quickly behind Cadel Evans. So it'll be interesting to see now. He's looking for a time of 25.50 to take the lead on the stage.
We're going to start to get some very fast times being reported now. The time to beat 25.51 set by Rafael Infantino of the EPM team from Colombia. Cadel Evans is still not slowing down at all, out of the saddle, fighting with his machine, and he's still, as I say, Phil, he is stomping a massive gear. He's a powerful bike rider.
It has been a superb season. Best ever for Cadel Evans. It all began way back in March with a win in Tirreno Adriatico. In July he won the Tour de France. As we go to the legs of the man in yellow, I would suspect, as we gradually creep up them, there he is. As we're seeing now here, TJ Van Garderen holding his cadence here, a little way back down the road from Cadel Evans.
I just think it's quite amazing when you look at the 5 or 6 names that we've continued to mention here. You can't really pick a winner out of those 6 bike riders. This race here could really go right down to the final stage around the streets of Denver.
Leipheimer wears the green colours here of the Smashburger Points Championship, because he has had yellow. He's gone back into green now. Not his usual red Radio Shack colours. Now Cadel Evans goes into the corridor of noise again, stamps on those pedals. The motorcycle ahead clears the way for the champion of the Tour de France. His time is running, and it's 25, and it's already gone by, Paul, the time of Infantino. So Evans isn't going to be best time by quite a way.
Well, he's obviously found this individual time trial very difficult and very testing here this afternoon. That's an incredible ride by Rafael Infantino, and I wonder if anybody's actually going to challenge it at all now, because if Cadel Evans can't do it, you have to question whether or not Levi Leipheimer and TJ Van Garderen can.
Well, the Australian flag almost blinded Cadel there, but he's got past it into the home straight now and into the barriered region. As the Danish flag flies as well, which is not going to be a winning time. It's going to put him maybe in the top 6 if he can kick. He's going to have to really kick for the line. He has here as he gets in around 26.40 on the line. Cadel Evans will have a high position. It's now what the rest do as he crosses that line in 5th best time.
Well, Cadel suffered for that one. Certainly looked extremely powerful when he came up towards the finishing line, and now he's just got to try and recuperate if he can. All of these riders will try and get back to the hotel as quickly as possible for rest and recuperation before they come out and do the same thing all over again tomorrow.
Yes, indeed. But first of all, you better hang out here and see what's going on as we switch back down. Just coming up to that 1 kilometre banner again is Levi Leipheimer. The way up towards the finish here has really hurt these riders. It did it to Basso. It looks as though it's done it to Evans. Now, how is Levi Leipheimer coping with this? But remember, and here he is, the arrival now of Christian Van der Velde.
Well, Christian Van der Velde was posting some pretty impressive rides out on the course. And look at this time, Phil. We're inside of 26 minutes. We could well be inside the best time of 25.51.
This is huge now. 25.51 is the best time, and there's the banner. This is the best time. Van der Velde has delivered today, and he's got the course record. 25 of 47 best time. 25.48 is the outright best time ever done by Ben Day, so he's beaten that by fractions of a second. But who cares? The most important thing is he's delivered when it matters for the overall classification.
Tell you what, Phil, that was a man who pulled himself inside out for that ride. Look at his face again. He's grimacing here. He's trying to hold back a little bit longer, thrusts his bike at the finishing line and stops the clock with a brand new best time. And now there are only 4 men left out on course.
And he's put 58 seconds into Cadel Evans, which has really moved him much more into the lead there. That is a significant ride by Christian Van der Velde, who has got better and better as this year has got longer and longer. There he is, chance to warm down now and wait and see. Don't go to the massage table this time, because you could be on the winner's podium.
I think he's going to have to wait around for a little while now. The next man to come into the finish line is going to be Levi Leipheimer, 4th rider from the end. He is looking to ride himself up into a leader's yellow jersey at the end of the day if he can. 2015, that's Richmond, Virginia, and what they're hoping is that World Championships, the International World Championships, will come to Richmond, Virginia in 2015.
Well, why not? Because America has showed how it welcomes the big names in this world of cycling, Colorado in particular. Why have we waited so long to bring a bike race back to this beautiful state? Because it's back now, and it's back big time.
Yeah, but look at this time again, Phil. This is just over the 25-minute mark here for Levi Leipheimer. He's got to try and beat the time of Christian Van der Velde. It's going to be very, very close.
It is going to be. Look at the face. 25.47 at 25.23. Leipheimer could be delivering here. He's going to have to really sprint around that corner, but he might well do it. We're looking at 25.47. Leipheimer is back on top of his game here. The clock is counting. He's seen it. He's digging deep, and he hits the line. The official time, 25.47. He's in the same second, the same whole second as Van der Velde. He's in by hundredths of a second better.
That is unbelievable to stop the clock in exactly the same time. I tell you what, Levi Leipheimer really tried hard now. 3 men left. Tommy Danielson, George Hincapie, and TJ Van Garderen. Look at his face here as he comes up to the line. He looks and he lunges for the line. It's exactly the same time as Christian Van der Velde. What an unbelievable individual time trial.
We ride a time trial. The two guys gain absolutely nothing on one another, and I think marginally by hundredths of a second they might put Leipheimer on. We've still got 3 very good time trialists to finish, so don't count your chickens just yet, Levi, but it looks as though he's delivered a ride today. Boy, after all that climbing, Paul, you get a blink of the eyelid and you lose the race.
It's totally crazy, and I think that's what this race is all about here, Phil. When we went down to the starting gate just before, there was an incredible electric atmosphere, and it's continuing right down to the last 3 riders.
We just have the 3 riders to go now. Tommy Danielson will be the next rider to start. Remember, they started 2 minutes apart. Van der Velde and Leipheimer finished 2 minutes apart. It is quite unbelievable, that. But we'll wait for Tommy D as we concentrate a little bit on the last man sweeping here now. TJ Van Garderen. He might know the times being done by Van der Velde and Leipheimer from the team car. Out on course there, Frankie Andreu on the right, himself a great Tour de France rider, interviewing here Christian Van der Velde, and the next interview will be this man here. We'll have to wait for the official clocks to tell us just who has got the best time on the stage, but it looks to me as though they're locked in the same whole second. And in cycling, by the way, we go to the next whole second. Only in the event of a tie finally in Denver would they look at the time trial time.
Just looking at the style here, Phil, of TJ Van Garderen. He seems to be struggling a little bit with that gear. Well, they're giving a second difference between Levi Leipheimer and Christian Van der Velde, and he's looking at the clock and he says, I don't believe this.
Well, he can't believe it, but work that out, because it must mean that Van der Velde's done 25.48. Tommy D is coming home now as soon as we get the clock, but it's already gone by. So Tommy Danielson still on the chance here of possibly a 4th place situation. No, it slipped away a little bit. Tommy D, though, has had a good day out. He's not conceded too much here. As he races up towards the line, he stops the clock and stops our picture, so I can't tell you what we stopped the clock at, as Tommy D has gone over the line there, so we'll get his time very shortly. At the moment, it is 25.47 to Leipheimer. At 1 second, Christian Van der Velde.
Only 2 more bike riders left in this race out on course. George Hincapie will be next up to the line, and TJ Van Garderen. I keep looking, Phil, at TJ Van Garderen's style here. He seems to be having a hard time getting his legs over the top of that gear. He seems to be struggling a fraction to keep the tempo nice and high, but he is the man who wears the yellow jersey. He will do his utmost here, but when you see that body style, when you see that rocking of the top half of the body, it means the guy's losing a little bit of his power.
Yeah, and the pressure's on him, don't forget. The pressure's really on him to defend this yellow jersey. He's got a little bit of time in the bank. He can afford to lose 15 seconds to George Hincapie, 22 to Tommy Danielson, 34 to Leipheimer. Let's have a look here. Now, this is Leipheimer. He's actually indicating, did I win or not?
Well, he has absolutely no idea, because when he looked at the clock, he knew the time to beat, but he then knew that it was going to go down to hundreds of seconds, and now he's got a few moments to wait to figure out whether or not he's won this stage and whether or not he's going to do enough to get himself back the overall leader's jersey.
Well, there's no doubt about one thing. He's first or he's second, and we believe he is now first, and that is a tremendous time trial by Leipheimer. 1 kilometre to go. Final visit to the Maxis banner here now is TJ Van Garderen. We still can't confirm Tommy Danielson's time, but it won't affect the leaderboard today because he slipped away towards the end. But can this man do it? Can he hold on to his yellow jersey? I'm going to start writing some times down here, Paul. You carry on commentating.
No, Van Garderen there, you can just see that he's really powering there, trying to keep that gear ticking over at the top. He'll be looking at the monitor in front of his screen there to try and see what his average probably just thrown that out the window right now. His heart rate would be up around 180, 185 beats a minute. He's inside of the final kilometre, and he has not seen George Hincapie at all. George Hincapie also cannot be too far away from coming into the finishing straight. But for TJ Van Garderen, yes, he started the day with an advantage over everybody else, but you know, an individual time trial like this uphill is a pain.
Weston, he's got to finish at 26:21 is what TJ must be in at as we go up to the summit now to see the arrival of George Hincapie. Hincapie is looking to beat TJ by 16 seconds today to claim yellow, or has Leipheimer done something very, very special? Not a great ride by George. He suffered a bit up this climb, 26:50 and going on as he comes over the line, 26:58 for George Hincapie.
Well, that's a top 10 finish for George Hincapie. He obviously struggled a little bit with that climb here this afternoon, so only one man left now, and it's this man, TJ Van Garderen.
What it means, Leipheimer right now is in yellow if TJ Van Garderen doesn't record 26:21. I think Leipheimer will be back in the leader's yellow jersey.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Phil, you look at the shape and look at the style of this guy's pedaling action here. He just can't get the power this afternoon. After an incredible race yesterday over the top of Independence Pass, then all the way down into the city of Aspen, and now he's having to defend it, but he really is suffering. Let's not forget, though, Phil, he's only 23 years of age. He only turned 23 about a week ago, and that was in the long career ahead of him, and you get a little bit more strength the longer you become a professional bike rider.
Well, the young whippersnappers dumped Levi Leipheimer on Independence Pass yesterday, but it looks to me as though Levi Leipheimer may have turned the tables today here in Vail. 26:21. If he's not in by 26:21, Levi Leipheimer will lead the race tonight, and he's 26:03.04 and counting. He's not going to do it.
I don't think he's going to do it either, Phil. He's got inside now the last 250 metres. He knows what he has to do. He's fighting all the way up to the finishing line, though. The time is going to go by very shortly. It's going to be quite close, though.
It's going to be, the race goes on. That's what it means. He may be out of yellow, but he'll be back in yellow tomorrow. This race has closed right up. Out of yellow goes TJ. By my reckoning, in comes Levi, but we are talking about 10 seconds, if that.
Well, instead of opening the race gaps, what this time trial today has done, Phil, is closed down the race gaps. We're going to have a very tight top end of the overall standings at the end of today.
Now, they explained it to Levi. He's certainly changed into his team strip down there, so he's getting ready perhaps to change into a yellow jersey. Now, the presentation won't be done up here, by the way. It's a quick whip back down to Vail in the cars for these riders. We'll catch up with him on the winner's podium. He's given his all, Paul. That is all you can do.
No, certainly. Let's not forget that he's only been a professional for a couple of seasons, and he's got a long and going to have an illustrious career ahead of him. It's tough when you're 23 years of age. You're defending the weight of a bike race like this, and this is an extremely important professional bike race, the USA Pro Cycling Challenge. He had all of that weight on his shoulders, and sometimes they say the yellow jersey can give you wings. Sometimes it's like a lead balloon.
Champions can't take defeat because they're champions. That's why he's only lost by a hatful of seconds, and he certainly hasn't lost the race at this stage.
Don't you worry, this boy's going to come out boxing again tomorrow, because we've got another good stage as we head once again deep into the mountains. He's just got the information, I think, Phil, and he's learned that he's lost the overall lead.
Well, and I think Levi's just been told he's got the overall lead here. He's also, let's not forget, won the stage here. That's Axel Merckx, son of the great Eddie. Congratulations. Axel Merckx here is the acting race director on Radio Shack, and he's handling the race leader once again.
Yeah, he also looks after the Livestrong under-23 development team, which is starting to produce some pretty impressive bike riders.
Yeah.
And Axel, I think, is doing a phenomenal job of bringing on American cycling.
Axel there also congratulating the team director there, Alain Galopin. Well, okay, we're looking at the face of a champion because he can't take defeat, and that makes him a champion in my book. He's going to fight again. He's given it all today. He's briefly held the race lead, as he briefly held the King of the Mountains jersey in the Tour de France. But he's only 23 years of age. Give his body a chance to get the stamina of this man, Levi Leipheimer.
Yeah, well, don't forget, Levi Leipheimer's been around for an awful long time. TJ is on the start of his climbing the ladder to success, and he, I think, yes, he'll be a little bit disappointed that he didn't manage to get himself, didn't manage to retain his overall lead. But every day that he races, he's learning more. He's learning more about tactics. tactics, he's learning more about his body, and he's learning more about the sport of professional cycling.
Yes, he is indeed. Well, let's go off the disheartened face there of TJ Van Garderen and look at the result first. Look at this. In fact, 25:47 the time at 50. I'm not too sure what that means. 0.58. So that'll be 1 second the deficit for Christian van der Velde. Infantino did the ride of his life to take third place at 4 seconds. Tommy Danielson, we never did get his time, did we? Well, there we are, 33 seconds off the pace. So that's run very, very well for. It's going to make an incredibly tight overall situation. Now, TJ Van Garderen still finished in 6th place, losing 51 seconds today to Levi Leipheimer, Dave Z in 7th. There's the start of the ride, which I believe is putting back in yellow, but hey, I've had to run paper all over the place to try and work it out, so I hope I'm right. We'll find out when you rejoin us here in Vail. What a time trial. Another beautiful view, courtesy of Colorado.com. The time trial has just finished. What a time trial it has been. It has not opened up this race. It's shut it down again with 3 days still to go. It is going to be an incredible finish now as we head on to Steamboat Springs tomorrow, Breckenridge, and then finally down to Denver. This is a sad sight, but he's got nothing to be sad about. He's finished 6th on the day. Yes, he's lost his lead, but he hasn't lost it in any way. He could fight back into yellow before Denver. When he gets home and he looks at the results, TJ Van Garderen will say, hey, it's not so bad after all. But one can understand right now how he feels. So the disconsolate situation for TJ Van Garderen. He doesn't even want to walk to his car, which is just round to the but they're going to have to persuade him to do that because the only way back is by car. He can't ride back down the course today, so he's on his way. Look, he gave it his best shot. His girlfriend or fiance is there as well, saying, look, you've done your ride of your life. Don't worry about it. Champions always do, don't they? So he's being almost escorted to his car here, being forced to get in it and go home to the hotel. There's no need to go downtown. Oh, yes, there is. What am I talking about? He'll still be the best young rider in this race. He's got to get down to the podium and pull on the best young rider's jersey. And that will be still his, despite he's had a brief appearance in yellow today. But when we get to see how this shakes out for the overall, I hope I'm right in calculating Leipheimer. I think so. Van Garderen will be very close in 2nd. He might have dropped to 3rd. Tommy Danielson's ride, which we never got, wasn't conveyed to us in time. All right, well, Levi was our man, and he was our road ID ride of the day today. Don't forget, you also can tell us later on, and we'll put yours up tomorrow, but I bet you go for Levi Leipheimer. A brilliant start. He was into that praying mantis position in a flash. He time-trialed out of town. He settled down to a great situation here. Then he burst into the crowds, and he ripped through the crowds as well. He never lost his rhythm, but he couldn't have known how close it was with Christian van der Velde till he hit the line. So Levi Leipheimer crosses the line there. He gets the win. And to vote on who you think should be today's Ride of the Day recipient and winner's shopping spree, head on over to roadid.com/ride, and we'll announce the fan pick, your pick, at the top of tomorrow's show. Well, we just jumped onto Interstate 70 now. We're actually following here Levi Leipheimer being whipped around Vail and dropped back in at the start area for the presentations. And this is the situation with Tommy Danielson in the Garmin car as well. He's being whipped down the highway. The organisation is second to none here. It really is superb. And there's a massive crowd waiting to welcome the champions back in town. Even this man, he's got to go because he will be on the podium down there to receive his best young rider's jersey. He's still very much in this race. He gives us the impression he's just lost the Tour de France like Andy Schleck did in July, but he hasn't by any means lost the Tour yet. He's still in with a chance to win before Denver. He won't know it. He hasn't worked out the standings yet. He won't have taken any interest in the result. All he knows is he didn't win, and that's bad enough for him just now. Levi Leipheimer, gosh, he's riding so well as he moves on towards 38 years of age. The man from Santa Rosa, but as everybody will tell me in Butte, that's where he originally comes from. He's an altitude man, he can cope with it, and he's done pretty well. Let's have a quick walk around the highlights of the day. The man we didn't see finish, but we'll show you now. Here he is, Rafael Infantino, the runner-up in the Colombian National Time Trial Championship. Really pulled out something very, very special today. We didn't see him finish, and he clocked 25.51 to go inside Andy Hampson's course record and tickle that of Ben Day's for 25.48. Then came the man who was clearly going very quickly all of the way on course, but our watches, we couldn't tell you what he was doing. Christian van der Velde was off with a vengeance, confirming he really is one of the top time trial riders in this race, confirming his prologue ride the other day in Colorado Springs. Up at the top there, it looked an unbeatable time. As he came in there, Christian van der Velde, 25.48 would be the official time, rounded up. 58 hundredths of a second would in the end be his defeat by Levi Leipheimer. Leipheimer, dressed in green, as the points leader of this race, the kick, the determination on his face, racing across the flags of all the nations taking part in this USA Pro Cycling Challenge. Leipheimer was out on course. We've seen him in this style so often in the Tour de France, in the Amgen Tour of California, and now here in Vail. He just pushed the crowd aside as he charged up towards the summit. And then when he saw the time on the board of Van der Velde, when he lunged for the line, it was 58 hundredths to the good. And he didn't know whether he was first or second. He was confirmed at first with that final lunge to the line. Then he'd been told he'd won the time, he'd got the time. TJ Van Garderen was still to come, of course. But TJ's time, he had to cross the finishing line in 26 minutes and 21 seconds to retain his race leader's yellow jersey. He started off confidently enough. The often seen thunderclouds blowing in across the mountains, not coming today, staying hot and sunny all day here in Vail. The crowd just about getting out the way in time as he too parted the waves. Perspiring greatly on his way up the mountain. He must have known the times at this stage that had been done by Van der Velde and by Levi Leipheimer, and his time wasn't quite good enough, although it would stand as the 6th best time of the day. It was 51 seconds slower than Levi Leipheimer, and that meant he wouldn't be in yellow for the ride tomorrow. So let's have a look first of all at the United Healthcare stage results. There they are. Leipheimer, 1 second it will be rounded up to, but 58 hundredths officially. Van der Velde is second. Infantino 4.44. Tommy D 33.31. Good ride by Tommy if he really was feeling a bit ill this morning. Stef Clement, the champion of Holland, he's also there in the top 5. TJ finishes 6th, 51 seconds off the pace. Zabriskie hung into 7th place in the end. Evans 9th, not a good ride by Cadell, 61 seconds slower. Don't think he can win this race now. George Hincapie in 10th place, 9 seconds slower than his team captain. Those are the top 10 in what has been a critical time trial, and all over in just 10 miles of racing. Now this is where we are now, back down at the finish, and in fact where we're doing our commentating from. And this is the crowd at the start. I think I said the finish there. This is down at the start in the square in Vail. So we're waiting for those cars to roar into the home straight down here now, and then we'll usher them up onto the stage and we'll get the presentation underway. We haven't yet worked out the final overall. We'll have all that for you though when you come back. Welcome back, the beautiful creek here in Vail, Colorado. It's probably a trout stream, but this has been a wonderful day in a great place here in the USA Pro Cycling Challenge, sponsored today by Colorado.com. It's a state which has really turned this race up a notch today, as we've seen the time trial held, and not decide the future winner of this first race either, because we still have 3 days to go and nothing in it. We're still looking at the empty presentation stand. We're waiting for the arrival. Some of the riders are here coming down Interstate 70. We're just waiting for TJ Van Garderen because he wasn't too keen to get back in the car and make the journey down towards Vail. This is the new area of Vail here. This was an old shopping mall which was completely razed to the ground and rebuilt. I think it was 2 years ago. In fact, I met the two gentlemen who actually built it earlier today, and it is a fabulous little place, and we're tucked into a little enclave in the shadow of the giant Rockies.
Yeah, a magical little marketplace down here, and certainly this is the second largest ski resort, by the way, in North America, just behind Whistler. And I was talking to some people from And they said they actually preferred it to Whistler.
Well, it's had the Alpine Skiing Championships here a couple of times. I think they bid again for it in 2015. I'm not sure whether those 2015s have been awarded yet. But it's very similar to Whistler, Paul, the scene of the Winter Olympics a couple of years ago, because they have these sort of upper and lower villages like Whistler. And, well, it is bursting at the seams with people today. I don't think there's a coffee shop that isn't full up. And they're all down there enjoying. Look at the smiling faces. As we walked down there, we had to get an escort to get out. It was such a situation where everybody wanted to talk about the Tour de France and the Pro Cycling Challenge.
Yeah, well, we're still waiting for the guys to get themselves from the finishing line right back down here to the presentation. I don't think I've ever seen a situation like this in the sport of professional cycling, where the presentation has been back at the start rather than at the finish.
Yes, well, it's a logistic, but it's the only place they could do it because there was no room up at the top. Let's remind ourselves of the overall standings now. United Healthcare, here they go. Christian van der Velde. This is actually the stage result at the moment. This is the stage result. I think 1 second would be the gap for Van der Velde. Infantino is in 3rd place, Tom Daniel 4th, and Steph Clement is in 5th at 40 seconds here. Let's have a look a bit further down. It may well be the shakeout, but I don't think these are the actual standings. Van der Garderen lost 51 seconds in 6th place today. Zabriskie finished 7th, Jens Voigt 8th. This is the result of the time trial today. It's not the actual overall standings of the race. Cadell Evans is in 9th place, so I think we'll try and show you the actual overall standings later. But that was the stage result. We've just confirmed. Now I am hearing also the riders are taking too long to get down here. If that is the situation and we are obliged to go off air, I'm sure you'll join us tonight in our special late night show, and we'll see all the interviews there. But we'll just hang on a little bit longer just to see if we can show you anything at all. Everybody waiting very patiently. Logistically, this is a gamble by the organisation, but they had no choice. There's no room to have all the presentations where the finishing line was, so you've got to get the guys back down here in front of the people. The line that resulted in less than a 1 second victory for Levi Leipheimer. It's no good asking the official was I first or second. I doubt they would know the answer at that stage of the day. And TJ Van Garderen tied all the way up, but it wasn't good enough. Axel Merckx, who's come down from Canada, where he now lives, congratulating the Radio Shack boy Levi Leipheimer, and I'm sure his wife is also, Odessa is also very happy there. Now these are the overall standings, and these are very close, which we thought they would be. Van der Velde, look at that, 11 seconds off the pace. TJ has only gone back to 17 seconds, almost the advantage he was in front this morning. He's now behind this evening, so it's not over yet. Tommy Danielson had a great ride today despite sicknesses there in 4th place. Infantino has come up into 6th slot today. Evans is in 7th slot. Steph Clement has come up as well into the top 8. Bruno Pires, who made the selection in Aspen yesterday, is in 9th, and Rory Sutherland holds on to his 10th place finish at the moment. So that's the situation. Now don't forget, we can't show them, they're not here, so we are going to leave the race now with our live coverage, but we will be bringing you all and the prize presentations later on this evening. Now let's have a look at our route, Radio Shack route for tomorrow. This is another tour of the hills as we continue on through this beautiful state of Colorado. We go down to nearby head to one of the big names in Colorado, Steamboat Springs, which is where the American ski team train, I do believe. We're going downhill, not possible. It's from 7,400 feet. We've got a little bit of a climb. We cross through 8,200. Then we go up to 8,500. Then we gently roll, heading towards Steamboat Springs. When you come over the hills, you look down below. There you see Steamboat in all of its splendor, and it sits at 6,700 feet above sea level. It's going to be another great day here on the USA Pro Cycling Challenge, that is for sure, as there's a little bit of action down there at the moment, so maybe we're not going to leave. I have to wait for instruction for that one, but it looks to me as though they're readying the yellow jersey for Levi Leipheimer, but we've run out of time, so we've got to go. So if you've missed any of today's race, and you've certainly missed the presentations, then catch it tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. The USA Pro Cycling Challenge continues tomorrow on Versus at 3:30 Eastern Time with our special program Rematch in the Rockies, and the USA Pro Cycling live action starts later after that. So we're going to enjoy ourselves with a new leader. Every day we change leaderships here. For a full schedule and daily highlights, then log on to NBCSports.com for all information there. And for the tour tracker, remember to go to USAProCyclingChallenge.com. Our clothing has been provided again by Perlazumi, and congratulations to our stage winner today and new leader, Levi Leipheimer. Odessa will be happy, his wife. From all of us here at Versus, thank you for joining us. Enjoy the scenes. They're straight out of the hat of the Tour de France. We'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.